Hello and welcome once again to Culture Cove on Hued Network. As always, we're here to preserve the arts and culture, and we also want to always shine a light on these to ensure that none of it dies out. Our culture is who we are as a people. As always, I'm joined by a number of persons to do justice to this episode, but I remain, as always, Amadine Ubewe. Now, to announce our special guest in the house, it's a full house today. You know, we have a variety of persons here to help us do justice today. So I'll start with my left, my closest left. We have Jonathan Onipe. I know you have a nickname, and I want you to remind me of that, please.
Okay, hi everyone. So my name is Jonathan Onipe, as you fondly said, and fondly referred to as Omoara.
Omoara.
That means Wonder Child.
Wonder Child.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Wonder Child.
Thank you.
And right next to Jonathan Onipe, we have Kaseina Nkom Dashe. I'm so sorry, I had to refer, so I tried to get the pronunciation right, and I don't know if I get that correct.
Not yet.
I'll keep practicing. But thank you so much for joining us. And finally, we have to my far right. She has a number of names. I was talking to her about this. So let's see. Can I list them all?
No,
the ones I know. Anyway, I'll say the one a lot of our fans know her by. That is Zuri. Is that okay, Zuri?
Yeah, that's
All right.
okay.
Zuri is an actress. She's also a part of one of the events we're going to be talking about today. Now, as always, Culture Cove has a number of segments. We talk about what we've been around town about in recent times, and then we talk about arts, fashion, film, movies, and finally, we spotlight a specific culture or cultural practice and just try to shine a light on how it's being done around the world. Now, starting with what Hued Network was up and about. Recently, we attended the WAFFCON event, which involves the Women in Arts, Film and Fashion, a convention, the first of its kind that happened right here. Jonathan himself was the convener. Zuri was also a part of the event as the creative director, if I understand. And we also had a special guest as one of the panelists, and we spoke about a host of issues. It was about Northern Lights specifically. So let's take a look at that report now, and when we return, we'll talk about it. Don't go anywhere.
The Women in Art, Film and Fashion Convention, WAFFCON, celebrated the contribution of women across Africa's creative industries with a vibrant event that highlighted women's achievements in art, film and fashion. At the event, which held at Exhibition Pavilion in Abuja, key stakeholders from the creative community gathered to recognize and promote the growing influence of women, particularly from northern Nigeria, under the theme Northern Lights. Speaking at the event, the convener, Jonathan Onipe, described the convention as one that celebrates women's significant role in art, film, and fashion space across the continent.
We are celebrating Northern Lights. I'm talking about the Northern women and the role they play, their contributions in the space. Women in arts get a voice. For example, one of the things we are really pushing in the art space is the performance poetry. And if we know very well Alhan Islam, you know that she's a voice in that space, right? And then so yes, a voice, a form of expression, something different from what we've been having. Yes.
The keynote speaker, Miriam Megida, emphasized the transformation in societal attitude over the years. She also stressed that despite technological advances, traditional art remains timeless, citing Leonardo da Vinci's work as example of art that have endured over centuries.
In the era of media, like nobody is just seated at home and waiting for a gallery to show them or wait for somebody to. We have social media. You have the power to show the world what you're capable of. You have the power to document whatever you're doing and define what you do. From your tribe to your language to your tribal marks to your body art, everything you're free to document and tell that story however way you want and also get that audience. Apart from that, we join different associations, we attend open call exhibition. These are all mediums whereby we get to show ourselves. We have interviews, like any opportunity you get to showcase yourself, you will. That's how we get to get the people to see us. For me, for instance, I use media. I started from on my Instagram. You see my posts backdate to 2012. My posts are there, so you can go and see my whole story from there. So I'll encourage younger ones to make use of the media as much as possible. It's a powerful tool if you know how to use it. Yeah. I've always been a traditional artist. I've never done graphics. I've never done all of that, and I'm still thriving in the art world. You can't break it. The traditional art is what your brain will create will be different from whatever AI will generate. There is an artist, Imal Silva. He's experimenting using AI to replicate his painting, but he uses his fingers to make the painting. So he's challenging it, like, can the AI reproduce what I use my fingers to create? Is that possible? I don't think. Well, I wouldn't discourage artists that are into the digital part of the art, but still maintain the traditional one. How many years later we are still looking at Renaissance work of Leonardo da Vinci and all that? Do you see what they are doing? Yeah, so
one of the panelists, Kaseina Nkom Dashe, shared her experience as a northern woman carving out her own identity in the creative sector, symbolized
woman is a northern woman that is larger than life, a northern woman that is very different from the stereotypes that some of us have been fed, a northern woman who is emerging into her own, a northern woman who is carving her identity, a northern woman who has a mark on her world, a northern woman who is shaping her world,
for greater access to funding, inclusion of women in decision-making spaces, and creation of more opportunities aligned with women's values.
They want more access to funding. We want more access to decision-making. We want more opportunities that are in line with our values as women. So I think that if the world just wakes up to, the potential that women have in actually developing a country, a society, and even building a family. I take a lot of inspiration from my mom, and I think she's one of the most amazing mothers ever, and it's just high time we continue to produce better citizens by having great values in our homes.
The event also featured a variety of performances, including spoken word arts, short film screening showcasing stories of women in art, and concluded with a fashion show. The fashion show celebrated the female designers with models wearing vibrant fabrics and design inspired by Nigeria's rich cultural heritage. WAFFCON 2025 continued to position itself as a platform where women's voice in arts, film, and fashion are amplified, providing inspiration and paving the way for future generations. Even as this convention comes to a close, the story and narrative continues. It is very important that women across northern Nigeria and beyond continue shining their northern lights across borders, breaking barriers, telling their story, and inspiring the world with their creativity, resilience, and vibrant cultural pride.
Kudos to you all. You were all a part of that. What does it feel like saying, because organizing things in Nigeria, I don't know. I think I can leave the rest to you. But then being able to achieve that, how does it feel? We can start with you, Jonathan.
Okay, so open confession. I've not watched it. I've been busy doing the whole wrap up on this, and seeing it. I'm trying to wear my manly pants. I don't want to cry also. So it's beautiful. This made me realize I did something really beautiful.
You did.
And so, what does it feel like organizing events in Abuja?
Nigeria.
In Abuja, starting in Nigeria, it's a lot. I've been doing this for nearly a decade now, from university days when I started, and it's a lot. And I think I would sum it up in we need funding. I'm able to do this because an organization funded my organization, and an international organization. So that was what really did. And if we had more, we would have done better. Because at the point, we knew where we were on our finances, and it wasn't giving. I had to call my because I was like, It is red though. It is red
Where
though.
did the thoughts come from to spotlight to begin this? I can understand the first,
first
the one
edition, yes.
that means we should be expecting either on a yearly or double yearly, what the English is biannual basis.
Yeah.
So where did the idea come from?
Okay, so WAFFCON, at the close of it dates back to 2019. So that was the first time I met. I mentioned her, Alan Islam, and I was working with her then. I worked with her on a project, and I grew up in Kano, and we're used to seeing the women just doing things for the home, taking care of children and all of that. And then I got out of school. I'm now in the creative space proper, and I'm seeing Alan Islam doing so well. And she takes me to meet her godmother, and her godmother is mentor Honorable Aisha Ogi. And I'm like, wait, northern women are doing differently. So but there was no WAFFCON then. It was just, I just wanted to really tell their stories, and I wrote a play that I'm hoping to stage later on. I wrote a play, Women Before Wives. Well, I wrote a synopsis and we're still building it, and so it was that I wanted to do. And by the close of
You're a he for she.
Yeah, if you say so. So it was at the close of the year. I attended the workshop, and I saw more northern women. I'm like, okay, no. So a play might not just do it, or might want to see, because I started meeting those who are visual artists, those who are into films, those who are into music. I wish the rap artists could make it. Beautiful house rap artists, and I was elated by all of that, and so I said, no, I needed to do more than just a play. I wanted to capture more. So, and then at the workshop, we're grouped into this, and I was the only guy again. Among like 6 females, and then we called the name of a group Northern Lights, and that was when Northern Lights sprung up. Like, oh, okay. So when I started WAFFCON, and
all right, fair enough. So, ma'am, I want to get it right this time. Kaseina. Is that
Kaseina.
Kaseina?
Yes.
Kaseina. All right.
Yes.
Please tell us. You're a panelist there, and actually, as journalists,
she's the mother of the.
I mean, there's something we do as journalists. Whenever we go for events, we spotlight certain people that we know we must speak to when we see them speak. And the moment your panel held and what you spoke about, the ideas you gave, and all of that, we said, one way or another, we must find her and we must get her here. And we're so happy you're here today. So expand on that for us. The theme of the event, trying to spotlight women in the North, arts, film, fashion, and all of that. So what more can you tell us about that?
Oh, wow. So thank you very much for having me here. Thanks for the compliment. It's, when someone talks about you have sometimes an out-of-body experience. That kind of me like this. But yeah, thank you. And first off, hats off to Jonathan and his amazing team. I mean, WAFFCON is a dream come true that we didn't know we needed. Like, it was a fantastic platform. And as soon as he shared the concept with me, I was like, man, okay, how do we go all in? How can we pitch in and support the birthing of this great idea? I think it's a fantastic idea. And I really loved the theme Northern Lights. It's very easy to dismiss the Northern woman as one thing. I am a Northern woman. But when people think of Northern women, sometimes the picture is a woman who is uneducated, a woman in petty trade, a woman in Puda who is not allowed to come out of her house, a voiceless woman. Yes, that is one slice of reality, but there are many other slices of reality when it comes to Northern women. The reality about the North is that when we say that Nigeria has over 250 languages, a large chunk of those languages dwell in the North. So it's very easy again to dismiss the North as being Hausa Fulani, for instance. But then you have a lot of languages, ethnicities, and nations within Northern Nigeria who are very heterogeneous. And so that's something that I feel is really important to state. And that is also part of why Northern Lights resonated with me. The fact that the Northern woman is not one thing. she's a lot of things.
Indeed.
And how can we showcase that variety? So yeah, that excited me about it, and that's a movement I'll always support, because we need to, shine the light that
Indeed.
the northern woman is more than one thing. She's a lot of things.
Shine the light, the northern lights. Speaking about life, Zuri, you wear a lot of hats. You're an actor, you were a creative director, and by the way you dress, people can also perhaps say that you're a designer in the making, or you have the idea. So tell us about this particular thing. It's WAFFCON. There's arts, there's film, there's fashion. What's your take on how it all panned out? And also, by the way, Zuri was also a model at that event, so that should also be noted. So go ahead, please.
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me. And yes, I have many names, but okay, WAFFCON. WAFFCON was, when it started like a joke. It was like we wouldn't get anywhere. We planned it for Women Week, the International Women.
Yeah.
We planned it for that time, but then we saw our social media page. It was crying. We saw our account. It was bleeding. We saw our strength. We were lazy. So we could not move with that, right? So we had to postpone. And when we did, it was the best thing ever, because we had to re-strategize. A lot of ideas came in, a lot of fights too, basketballs here and there. But then we were fine. We were okay. And at some point, I felt like, am I sure this is going to work? Maybe I should just say I'm not going to be part of this. But when I sleep, all I can think about is northern women. What would they say about a northern woman? Because I am a northern woman. And not just any northern woman. I'm baggy. I'm a baggy lady. Yes. And then anytime when you talk about North, it is always those people. It is always channeled towards the political aspect and the part that the northern woman only stays indoors. But that's a lie. I wake up every day. My mom is the first person awake. My dad is awake too. We are not lazy in the North. No. We are not. We farm good product that you eat. You cannot find them anywhere. And then we have lots of things that you cannot just say that North is not trying. But when they call weakness, the first thing they want to mention is North. When actually North is the strength. Imagine there was no northern women or no northern in Nigeria. To be a boring place, I tell you.
Indeed.
Because imagine we have good crafts, good painting, and all of that. But yes, okay. The film aspect, first of all, when Jonathan reached out to me, he was like, Zuri, I will need you on the film department. But I guess God was calling me to another direction. I went to different directions, trust me. And then I finally landed in creative department. It was awesome. I think when we first put out a call for film, it wasn't like people are not turning up. It was like, this people work. Who are these people? What is this? What's going on? But then we tried as much as possible to brand ourselves. To not give an impression that, okay, we are just the people that just want to start and talk and go. We actually do the work. Indeed. We are not dogs. We don't bark, we bite. So we were in for it. So we're in for it. And even when we were sourcing for funds, at some point we went to some place. I went to a place, particularly with Jonathan. I cannot mention name because we went to like, we'll get support here. Well, they said don't worry, when that time comes, we're gonna. Guess what? We didn't see their shadows. So I feel it was an awesome experience for me.
I can see that,
because of Northern Light. I remember when Jonathan said, Zuri, you will take the fashion department. I said, Jonathan, I know nothing about fashion. I only know how to dress myself. What is this that you're calling me into? We fought. That's booze. We dragged. Every day we talk about the same thing. Every day we talk about it. As a man, if you call me again, I'll block you.
And I think what I see here is that even with all of that, you ended up with what we got, which means you went through.
So I'm practically giving you an idea of what a northerner face. So you don't just think that we just wake up one day and want to be matonkuli, indoors, wives and all of that, and we cannot just dissuade the fact that northerners are trying. We actually put in the work.
Indeed, I can see that. So just to round off the segment now, Jonathan, I know you have to leave now. So what are we expecting next?
Well, watch out for part 2.
Okay, so but yes, we definitely want to. The reviews, should I call them reviews? The feedbacks we've gotten from the first one, how well it went, and then watching this, definitely we're going to have a part 2.
Fair enough. Thank you so much for coming, Jonathan. Jonathan actually has to leave now, but the program continues. Thanks so much for joining us and telling us about WAFFCON and what to expect in the future. For sure, Heat Network will be there whenever it's time for the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we'll go on a break now. When we return, we'll delve into our second segment, looking towards a little bit more of the arts and still checking into entertainment, fashion, movies, and all of that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Keep watching.
Please keep watching Culture
Cove on Hued Network.
All right, welcome back. This is still Culture Cove right here on Hued Network. And now we'll be delving into our second segment where we take a look at more of the arts, film, fashion, and all of that, even though we've already touched on that in our first segment. So we have joining us now to do justice to this segment and more to come, Joan. Amazing. Joan, how you doing?
I'm great. I like the way you draw the name. You give me that kind of...
On Culture Code, we can't call you Joan. Amazing. So if you want to refer to her, you have to say it every time.
Joan. Amazing.
When you interrupt her and talk, you don't say Joan. Hi, what is Joan? How are you doing today?
I'm great, Amadine, and I'm so happy. Whenever women are dominating the space, I'm sorry for you guys, but I'm not really sorry because you're a he for she. But, we're going right straight up to FESPACO, and we had the FESPACO festival in February 22nd to March 1st, 2025, and this took place in Ouagadougou in Burkina. Ouagadougou, thank you so much. Well, anyway, so this actually took place in Burkina Faso, and of course they had their guest country as Chad. And we had, whenever you hear FESPACO, you should be thinking of something very beautiful, like the fashion, music, performance, Pan-African movies. So we will be having some displayed on the screen, and we have a lot of things that really happened that day. And of course, President Traore Ibrahim was there, and also the President of Chad honored the invitation, and we had a lot of beautiful
displays and films. And I think for me also is the scope of it. When you hear about a film festival, when you see the more popular ones all over the country, the world, it's usually a huge event. So when you have this version in Ouagadougou, and it's also this huge, and it's having this representation, particularly for me, Nigeria was also represented. We're all aware of everyone knows Kunle Afunlayan, Managing Director, but not a lot of people know, or maybe some do and some do not, that he actually had a popular father who started the business, who was also a filmmaker himself. And this thing where a parent starts something and then the child joins in, and the child then does very well. So he screened his dad's old movies there. So stars, he also screened these, and he introduced his company, which is meant to have a film village right here in Nigeria, a massive one where people can studios, actually, a massive one where people shoot and all of that, a production company. So I think it's just one of those things where you have someone that's, you are so proud to say, well, this is one of us. And again, a lot of films were screened there. There were short films, feature-length film, and so on. So I'd just like to get everyone's thoughts on where you think we are in terms of how far we've gone in the film aspect. How much further do you think we need to go? And are there any favorites, particularly from the events and all of that?
Okay, so I'll jump at it. So once upon a time, I used to teach at a university, and one of the courses that I taught was film criticism, and it's also a course I studied when I was in the university. And at the time, we had a bunch of movies that we had to sit through. So we had legendary movies back then, like Shawaroi. I hope I pronounced it properly, but we had to sit through movies like that, and we're like, what's the point? But every day when I speak to my kids and people around me, I'm like, there is a point to this. Like, I have seen progression, and it's such a beautiful thing to see. Like, you can see where we're coming from, the days of Yemi, my lover, Nneka the Pretty Serpent, and all the brotherhood related movies, Yes, we've always had stories. We're storytelling people, and our stories are very juicy, like juicy gist,
and scary too.
Exactly. And then we have seen that, okay, as much as we've always had stories, we are seeing an evolution, even in our stage performances. So it's beautiful to see. And
I just want to point something out as well about you, that going back to our first segment, I noticed you were there with your mom. I spoke about passing down and the way you always brought her up and how she, about the culture and all that. It reminds me of what's happening with Kule and Folayan too, taking on what his father has done and all of that.
Well,
and there's go ahead, John.
I think I want to really, really like that film criticism you talked about is a very, very beautiful. I studied mass comm, so I understand. I understand what you're saying. Thank you so much. So,
did you study?
I studied film.
I refuse to.
So I'll really, really talk about how we've really evolved from where we used to come from the funny kind of titles and the whole content of the movies. And then right now, people are now more intentional about storytelling, and they narrow it down to cultural practices, just like The Bride by Miriam Birara. So Miriam Birara is a Ugandan producer, and she actually wrote a movie about the abducting of the bride. Whenever they want to get married there, although it's something that has been taken away. But back then, when you want to marry, instead of you going to the woman and telling her, okay, I want to marry you, abduct her, which is very, very wrong, infringing on women's rights and all that. And before, maybe after a long time, the bride's family will now finally agree because you've abducted their daughter and you don't want to release the daughter until the family agrees. So putting that story in a film is very, very beautiful to behold. When people, generations to come, watches this, they will be more intentional that such things should not occur again. Exactly. So that's for me.
So Zuri, let's hear from you. This is, you studied film. You're an actress. You're an expert on this matter. So tell us about it.
Okay. Okay, for the films. Well, I like the fact that FESPACO is doing what they are doing, because it's not just a particular region, right, or a particular country. It is all over. And then I went through their profile to see the movies that they have screened and all of that. I saw that they actually screened interesting films and films that are debatable, like the Katanga, Sira, and I think a few others too. But then I would say that, film now, I think we are moving, but we are moving stock. Moving stock as in STUCK. Because we are moving, but like we are not moving. It's like we have discovered a story and then we are sticking to it. We don't want to change, right? So I feel we have a lot to talk about. Nigeria is a full story. So I feel there are a lot to talk about. I could say that even on Netflix, you notice that most of the movies that end up there for some time. It was just a particular tribal. I don't want to go there. Particular tribal movies, and everybody was like doing the same thing. We want to do this, we want to do that. Over exaggerated makeup, some unnecessary tribal marks. Some all of even if they wanted to do it, it should have been authentic, and But then film has come to stay, right? But I feel we are not doing it the way it should be done yet. We're still trying to copy a tradition. We're still trying to copy, to not people are just running after particularly some awards. You don't need those awards yet. You need to make the good thing that will generate that award. People want to see what you've done. You shouldn't be rated by the bad works. We cannot hear, this person got this award, but then, do you remember this film? It was a flop. It is terrible. You have an award, you should own up to it. So I just feel if filmmakers can just, maybe they should have a rethink, revisit what they were doing before and look for the authentic thing there to do rather than just copy. You can just I understand that there is adaptation, but please adapt well.
Indeed. You make a very
adapt
great
well
point
because I cannot watch something about culture and then the people that you are trying to project are against what you have done. It means you've not done it well. So you need to do your research properly as a filmmaker. I think as a film person, someone that studied film, that was what we were taught. I think on adaptation was a course that I enjoyed so much because you literally have to visit the past. So it just shows you an origin, it shows you something. At least you don't need to go through the history of reading a huge book or something. You can just see a movie and know that this culture is this was existing. You don't have to stress yourself and all of that. Film should be able to tell us plainly, not complicatingly about what we should know.
I think there was a movie the other day where they were telling and something as part of Nigeria's history. I don't want to mention the film, but there were a lot of inaccuracies where this thing didn't even exist at this time, but we're seeing it in the movie. Did they do time travel? But away from that, I have a personal recommendation. I was telling Zuri off camera, I'm not trying to brag, but
please brag a little, it doesn't hurt.
As much as I'm a presenter and a journalist, I'm also a writer. And I've actually had a film I wrote, or a story I wrote was adapted into a short film and it's screened at the Afri Festival and some other festivals, talking about Jacob's Crib. Now, my own recommendation, I think, is that we need to also open our minds. We see a lot of trends now where sometimes people who are not technically actors, perhaps influencers and all of that, are being put into movies to push it. The other day, an actress actually said that, why are you looking at my follower accounts when I'm auditioning or when I'm being put up for a role? You should look at how well I portrayed it and all of that. But you're checking, who's going to promote you only have 100 followers. You can't promote my movie. And then you go for someone else. So these things, I think, can also be part of the things that are being considered. And as for the other recommendation, the Nigerians, we have folklore. Our folklore is so, Madame Koi Koi, this and that, Bush Baby, all those things. It's so deep and so interesting. So we don't get enough of the sci-fi fantasy aspects, which I think is a gold mine waiting to happen. Because, maybe it's not just because I write those stories. I actually think they are great. So, but let's see. Someone somewhere is going to pick up the idea. And like Zuri says, focus on quality first. Eventually, some of these things will come, the awards and all of that. My short film was directed by an AMVCA winner, but I'm not Andrea Peregrino.
Congratulations!
Andrea Peregrino, she won the AMVCA in 2022, it's 2023. Anyway, she's amazing.
Nice.
You check out her works too. So thanks so much, guys, for telling us. And June, thanks for taking us on this journey to FESPACO. I'll be following closely to see what Africans are doing more, and hopefully we get to see Zuri in some of these, perhaps some epic sci-fi fantasy movies and all of that. So we'll go on a break now. When we return, we'll delve into the spotlight of our culture. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
Keep watching
Please keep watching Culture
Culture Cove on Hued Network.
So welcome back. Is our final segment of the show now. We'll be spotlighting a specific culture or cultural practice today. Joan, take it away.
Thank you so much. It's looking like Joan is doing this, Joan is doing that. But anyways, this is like almost the final segment. And this is me taking you straight up to Philippines. Yes, what is happening in the Philippines? The Igorot tribe, the Sagada people, the Igorot tribe, they actually believe that when someone dies and they're about to bury you, they don't need to dig the ground to bury you. They have to go to the mountains and hang you there, like put you in the coffin and hang you at the mountains. So they believe that when you are hung at the mountains, you are closer to your ancestors, the heavens. So instead of burying you to the ground, that you'll be closer to, I don't know, it's better you are hung there. So these are actually the terrorists, Christ. Sorry about that. These are actually the people that came.
You mean to say tourists?
Tourists, yes. Well, they're not terrorists, but the way you look at it. But anyways, these are the tourists that came to, see what they are doing in Philippines, and those are actually the coffins. And trust me, there are actually people, like dead people inside, and this is literally hung on the mountains. And this is what the Igorot tribe is all about when it comes to burying people.
Indeed, and I think part of it for me is, how much effort they also put into decorating these coffins and all of that. And then the people involved as well have a part to play, which is what I like. That is, you prepare for your death. And, we have cultures that are different. Over here, when people hear of even things like
God
will,
forbid.
Just write a will. They say, over my...
Writing oil everywhere.
It's my enemy.
You wish exactly. Even the suggestion that you should have a will is a problem. It means, are you planning for my death? Exactly. Things like that. But here, and I think for me, I think it is too. There's this debate we've always had about which is more important, the birth of a man, birth of a person, the birth of a person or the death of a person. And I think it's the death of a person, Yes. So I like that the people sometimes can even start decorating their own pieces so that when it's their time, they know what to expect and all of that. What do you guys think about it?
Well, I have a lot to say. Okay, so first of all, I just feel if you look at it firstly, you think it's double suicide. Because you are dead and you're still hanging. but then it's fun. Imagine I don't have to miss my grandpa. I'm like, hi grandpa. So it is beautiful that they have to, plan your burial and everything. I used to say that if God would tell me when I'm gonna die, I'm gonna make sure that I make everything, I prepare everything ready. And I always had this fantasy that what if people, when you die, they give the reason why you died. Imagine somebody died and they be like, Nagari kill you won't cry much. You won't have to cry in vain. so I just feel it's amazing and it is scary, but it is well.
Indeed. So what do you think?
So I find it really fascinating. Like if this were to happen in Nigeria, they will say, "Don't go there. That is the evil forest." It's like it has evil forest vibes with the coffins hanging there. But I think that it's very interesting how culture, shapes people's lives. I recall being in a workshop once and we were talking about family planning and we were saying, how can we encourage men to do vasectomy? I know, because the fact is that a man can be a serial impregnator. When a woman is pregnant, 9 months, she's out. A man can impregnate several women daily. So he should be the target, right? And so with vasectomy, the guys were like, no. We said, don't worry, antenna go still pick, calm down. But is this something you guys can think about? And someone said, in his culture, they believe in reincarnation. So that when you die, for instance, and you were blind, they will kill a goat, remove the goat's eyes and put in your coffin and escort you with it. So that when you reincarnate, you will come back with eyes.
With goat's eyes?
Yes. That's so you mean to tell me if I now die after doing vasectomy, when I come back, I'm supposed to be a eunuch, I'll be waiting. You know, and then somebody said, okay, Sheuna, they talk about horsepower. What of horsepower and all of that? And there was that banter. But I just find it interesting how cultural perspectives come into play.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very interesting one. But man, #evil forest. I'm not that curious. I'm not going there.
No, it's dark. It's actually dark. It's very, very dark.
I think one thing about cultures like this is like Joan said, the tourists there.
Yeah.
It seems at the end of the day they attract people. People want to know what's it about. But one thing I particularly like, which I've already mentioned, is the fact that you prepare. For instance, for me, my friends know that there's a particular musician I don't particularly like.
Okay.
And, you know, I've had this kind of running...
I don't know. I'm your friend.
I don't want to say it on air.
I'm sorry. I can't wait.
It's an American musician, actually. It's not
the usual suspect.
I have my closest friend, we have this kind of running gag that if I should die before him, he's at my burial. And that song should come on. I need something dramatic to happen that gives the impression that I came back to off the song. I don't want to.
Actually, I have a song for myself.
The person has to stop singing, actually.
The
person has to stop singing.
No, I mean something dramatic. I've heard of where friends say that they want something to be put in their coffin. You know, sometimes when you have these burials, not in Nigeria, but sometimes the coffin will be there during the ceremony. So they want something that's maybe a phone. You can put it there, set an alarm, but the ringtone is a knock. So in the middle of the event, what you hear is...
Me too. I have one. I told my friend that if I die, she should pick my phone, text everybody, thanks for coming. And then probably first of all tell them it's dark in here. Thanks for coming.
I'm not part of this.
I buy that.
The child, I think you're a guy. He knew his people owing his father money, but his dad has passed away. So he texted the debtors,
pay me my money.
And then he said, I don't know where his phone is. So the debtors are like, Alpha, are you with your? I don't understand what's going on. Like, nobody is with daddy's phone.
Poker face.
I don't know, like, and then they all started paying back the money because
they didn't want to
You're getting a text from the beyond. You
I think that would stop debtors too in Nigeria. All over the world.
Anyway, I think we can take what we like and what we don't from different cultures. For me, I don't think there's anything wrong with preparing for when you are gone, because your loved ones will still be here. They'll still carry you on, and you also will carry them on to whatever exists afterwards. So thank you so much. That's how we run the program for today. Just one more thing before we go. We have a wise saying we like to take a look at. So let's take a look at the one we have for today, and then we'll talk about it. So, Madam Kaseina, please, can you take it for us?
Them know the slim fit. They know the slim fit borrowed clothes.
Exactly.
More.
Yeah, exactly.
This one, this one.
So why are you adjusting the clothes? Are you sure it was not being said?
Sorry, she's been adjusting.
I mean, the other don't catch me.
So what do you think about it? What do you get from it?
I think it's an interesting saying. The fact that I mean, you can't be anybody else. Like, that's what I'm getting from it. Like, you can't be anybody else. You can't be, a photocopy will always be a photocopy and it will be obvious. So just be the original that you are.
I love that. I don't think about it like that.
Mine is don't get comfortable with something that is not yours. Like, for instance, let me don't lie. I will say it. If I want to come very literal, I've actually slim fitted somebody's clothes.
Was it your sisters?
My sister's.
Did they dash you? No, were you dashed?
I was caught on the road and she was like,
This is what happens with sisters.
you wore my clothes and you even had the audacity. Like, you didn't even let you use pen and hold it back. You had to slim fit it, so I was like, please. I started begging on the road. And I was like, I don't know why it's risk. Why do I feel you are also a culprit?
No, because I don't have to slim fit mine. They fit. I borrowed them, but they will fit. But first of all, first of all, actually, I had this terrible one that I borrowed from my sister.
Sisters, I hear this a lot. It seems to be.
I don't even get to anywhere. She have called me to bring back the clothes, and I should start losing it from the road. It should not get to the house. That's tight, and then because she's big, and imagine how I had to.
And you warn the tailor, don't try yourself. Don't cut it.
Don't cut the allowance.
Behavior they do that. Don't cut the allowance. So why do they want to disgrace you?
Why are you people digging into my past? Actually, it's the little one that the tailor cut.
I'm so sorry, please.
No problem, it's fine. Okay, what I take from this is that it's two things. First of all, you can't take someone's style and own it. You can never be someone else. And then secondly, every man to his story, to his path, to his pace. So you have your story to tell. Another person's story is not as interesting as yours. You just haven't discovered it yet. So that is just what I have.
Indeed. I think for me, the key thing is the borrowed. At least wait to let them dash you. So I think that's for me. It reminds me of this story where someone is in the hostel cooking and, you know, he's cooking his jollof rice. He puts the tomato paste, the onions, all of that. And some random senior man from upstairs says, I don't like too much pepper. And the dude thinks he has been cooking his food and he's ready. And then when the food is ready, he realized he was not even cooking for himself. So it gives the impression that it's something that belongs to you and people are planning for it. Personally, I love, I don't know if I should review this aspect of myself. It's like therapy session here. But I love to disappoint people who have put me in plans without my knowledge.
I enjoy it.
Yes. So when, for instance, you can budget that, okay, I need 50 naira to get through this week. Now, just call me and ask me that you need, out of that 50, you need 10 from me. I don't want you to budget ahead that on so day, Amadou is going to bring 10. This person is going to bring this person. Just let me know beforehand, and then I can then say. But if you make it as though, it's this time for the thing I planned for that I didn't tell you about, or you're called, and I'm like, no, that's not how it works. So, let's push it to next time, and then let me be the one to put it in the plan. So I think that's what I get from this, and I think we can all work with that. As for the culprits on the show here, you guys should do better.
I've repented.
This is all related, but I think when I was in school, sometimes somebody wanted to borrow. We borrowed my gas the first time, borrowed. Second time, borrowed. The third time, every time he borrows it, I have to refill again. And every time he says he's cooking rice, and I'm like,
this one is more than rice.
So one day, it just occurred to me that this guy feels a boy beans with my gas. And then when they came, I want to borrow your gas. I said, to cook what? To cook rice, beans, abi. And then, so that was when I realized that people actually, and then he waits for me. When I've refilled, he comes to borrow it. So it made me realize that people actually, like Amadou said, people actually wait for you to get some things because they know you will get it. So they plan it they have dressed it for you.
Yes.
They have planned it for you. So which is why when they come, you don't just be like the good person. Bible said yes, you should give and all of that. But sorry, Bible did not say that you should give foolishly.
Yes.
If they've planned, they should go and buy and plan well.
Indeed.
So you are not.
And also, you should just have conscience because, like for instance, it reminds me of people who let me just connect to your hotspot. And then you are downloading something of 10 gigs.
Do you understand?
On my 1 gigabyte.
But anyway, I'm so sorry. We're out of time now. Thank you so much, guys. It's been such a fun episode.
Thank you.
An enlightening one. Thank you so much, Madam Kaseina.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zuri.
Thank you.
We're together.
Yes,
It's
See you next time. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you for having me.